Hi everyone, I'm Alex and I'm the hands behind Lovecraft Crochet. My plushies are for the anxious, depressed, autistic, and neurodivergent. Small enough to travel in a purse, backpack, diaper bag, or even your pocket. You can check out my Facebook page or TikTok to see what patterns are available and stay tuned for the new ones coming out. I also make hats, scarves, blankets, and dice bags for the tabletop gamer or dice goblin in your life. Feel free to order through the page, TikTok DMs, or via email at love.craft.crochet@gmail.com. Now, on to the segment.
Urban legends, missing heaven, hookman coming for you, mything 15 minutes. Mothman's flying at you, mything 15 minutes.
Welcome back to Mything 15 Minutes, where we don't do as many multi-parters as we do on the other show. I'm Sam Rossi, and last week we heard part 1 where we met the early monster-in-chief of Loch Ness, which was just covering how in the 6th century a Catholic yelled at a monster in the river that connects to the loch, all written by AJ. Yell at him.
Oh, am I supposed to speak there?
Yeah, that's where you're supposed to speak.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think I actually built in me speaking in this.
Oh, again?
Yes.
You at home don't know what's ad-libbed or not. Today we continue looking at the famous wet-ass Plesiosaur legend of Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster. I think there should have been a couple of periods in that entire paragraph.
Probably.
They were all commas.
So you should have taken a break regardless.
Now we enter Nessie's glam phase, the big debut. It's sort of like winning a new artist Grammy after you already had a hit album before your new album. I have no idea what AJ's ever talking about. Even talking about. Both works. So let's skip to his weirdness and remind everyone after St. Columba told Nessie to get back and mind your business. Just mind your business. Nessie doesn't come back. Literally for a random appearance in 565 CE until the now of when we continue this off.
Did that make sense to you?
Just mind your business.
Yes, that was the joke I made.
I did it. I realized what the joke was relatively quickly.
This is why you need to read these twice.
However, I just hurt my shoulder doing... Now, if we're going to go by chronology of tales, there's 2 that are reported after the fact. One was in 1886 when someone saw just something on the water, and the other was in 1888 by a mason who said the creature looked something like a stubby-legged salamander. You know what? I kind of see that. It's kind of like this is going to get you upset. It's kind of like when AI art just doesn't render correctly and it looks funny.
Not really. I actually picture it like when Tom Paris and Janeway turn into giant salamanders in Threshold because they went over the warp barrier.
That's not a bad option. You're kind of right there. I could see that.
Or a giant Gila monster.
I could see that too, yeah. Well, nobody can be, Godzilla, and he still has short arms. The problem with these is the first one is from a letter sent in 1934, which we will see why that's not a good time to be going, oh yeah, I remember seeing something. And that one with the Mason could have been interesting if there was any primary sources about it available. We do have a name and a time, and even he told somebody then, but blame the great algorithm that if it's online, it's buried under hundreds, if not thousands of pounds of people like us. They make me sick. Oh, and freaking AI pictures of Nessie? That's a treat. We're skipping the shaky stuff to the hard facts. The start of the real start of the Nessie diva era.
You know, sometimes when I hear you reading my words, I die a little inside.
Now all I see is freaking Sideshow Bob. Every time we say goodbye, I cry a little. May 1933.
Why the hell are you the manic one today? I am the one who's supposed to be manic.
I just took an edible a half hour ago
Oh,
because
that
of the
explains
pain
it.
in my back.
Okay, that explains it.
May 1933. There had been a newly constructed road beside the loch. AJ assumes that it's the A82 since the final leg of that was constructed in 1933 and is on the northern part of the loch and runs along River Ness, so it makes sense to him. Especially since the Inverness Courier is the first paper to report it, and that also on River Ness. Yes, this is a deep dive in more ways than just a pun. So on May 2nd, the Inverness Courier...
Inverness.
I said that.
You add a syllable in there.
Inverness. That's what I said. Courier runs a maybe 200-word puff blurb named Spectacle on Loch Ness. What is it? It gives the first true modern sighting and claiming that a businessman and his wife were driving down the new road, and about less than a mile off the shore, there was something causing massive disturbance on the calm lake. They pulled off and watched. Both reportedly saw a creature rolling and plunging for a full minute, its body resembling that of a whale, causing wakes, churning, and bubbling like a Mr. Coffee before it went back under. Coffee. We waited about a half hour. They waited about a half hour after to see if it would come back. It did not. AJ actually really thinks the neatest part, at least on the folklorist research level, is that the article also begins the line, Loch Ness has generations been credited with the home of fearsome-looking creature. And Aldi?
I would say it's Aldi.
Aldi McKay, the wife in the first famous sighting, has brought up knowing the oral tradition of a monster in the loch, so it's not far off that there's the cultural priming the pump if there was something unnatural happening. I see it, because we got Champy and
Ogo Pogo?
Ogo Pogo. I say it was quiet before then, but legitimately this led to a wave of sightings, and thank you to newspaper.com, not a sponsor. AJ just likes giving proper citation to where he saw stuff, where you get the story in real time.
Also, thank you to Aunt Lou for
funding our
getting us our first
subscription
to newspapers.com.
Yep, gotta do that again shortly. May 1st, bid to catch Dennison of Loch Ness.
Can you say the word Dennison again?
Bid to catch Dennison again.
When you hear that back, you said Dennison.
Whatever. Which describes how people are coming out to try and catch the monster Mongol fish that was seen. But the next day, another report from a hiking couple that saw thrashing in the water and again was described as a 10-foot fish thing in the water. Main point there would be that when the question was first asked, what if it was a Kelpie? I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah.
June 1st, the monster is seen again, except now it's described with a big head and a back like an overturned boat. I could see that.
You could see what?
How Nessie could look like an overturned boat.
Well, yes, its back looked like an overturned boat. It had a big back.
And it cannot lie. June 5th. A random man writes in to say that he saw the monster 40 years ago, and that has the body like an elephant and the head like a horse. That's the general trend, even with several articles coming out how it could just be a giant sturgeon, like the one that is the Loch Ness Monster, just a sturgeon. Oh, and of course the George Spicer sighting in July would be the one that really solidified the most standard look for the creature, as he described it when he and his wife stopped and watched the large, monstrous creature cross the road and then sink into the waves. Strange big thing like everybody else described, except it had a neck like a wandering railway, and it had to have had webbed feet just for how it crossed the road. However, he wasn't interviewed until after August, when King Kong was the most popular thing since sliced bread, which hadn't been invented yet. But we'll get to that all of this at the end of our trip through the chronicles of Nessie's resume. But that's just how quickly things were being reported. Everyone who was anyone got their name in the paper, and the papers were selling well because of it. And all that was before a picture. However, we may have to stop there. 15 minutes are a bit of a bitch, but we got Nessie's first canon appearance and the viral sightings that would launch a lot of paparazzi showing up. And yes, the next time is when we talk about the famous photos. Audience retention? What's that?
So yes, I actually really enjoyed researching this.
Okay.
Because this, as weird as your cadence was, really did show the evolution of, it started as a strange monstrous fish,
right,
and then it turned into looking more like a kelpie, where they're like, oh, it has the head of or has the body of an elephant and the head of a horse, which is a traditional kelpie look. Then it evolved into, well, now it has a long winding neck. You said wandering.
Okay.
It's okay. You mispronounced a lot of things here. Because it crossed the water. I don't believe it didn't cross the water. It crossed the road
into the water.
Which also is where it was described
as
later.
A plesiosaur.
Essentially a plesiosaur. But again, a big problem with...
When was plesiosaurs found?
As in, like, the creatures? 1800s, I want to say.
Well,
however, the reason I pointed out King Kong is there's a plesiosaur in that, and that actually gave the more dinosaur idea of popular culture. It's sort of like how in UFO, as we've covered in the past, the first flying saucer, it wasn't considered flying. They said it was bouncing in the air, like it was like
a rock skipping across the water.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, as soon as one person, or like Benny and Barney Hill, one person, they say we got abducted, suddenly everyone's getting abducted in a very similar manner.
All right.
It's once you prime the pump, it's the same as going into a ghost house. Once someone goes, there's ghosts in that house, and so we're gonna give you this night. We're going to give you this night vision camera. Go look for ghosts. Your brain is gonna automatically be in something's wrong here.
Yes.
So every sound becomes similar to this, where suddenly you have hundreds, if not thousands, of people showing up to this little, lake in Scotland, partially because the road now offers vacation, and partially because people are saying they're seeing some weird shit. And then you got newspapers reporting every fucking yokel that comes up and goes, you know what? We done come here to see a Loch Ness Monster, and I saw a wave that looked kind of weird, so that must have been the Loch Ness Monster.
You know what? It was the 1930s. What else could they have reported on before dealing with World War II?
You're right. The fact before World War II.
That's what I said, before World War II.
Well, I was going to say, no, there are no Nazis versus the Loch Ness Monster stories.
Are you sure?
No, but sightings did continue into World War II.
Okay. All right. Next week, we're going to get into the photobombs of 1930s. It's good to say without it being actual bombs. Although put a pin in that, since explosives are not off the table. I'm Sam Rossi.
I really wish we were recording because of the worried look on Sam's face.
Did they try to blow up Nessie?
I'm AJ Carey. We'll see you next week.
Later, y'all.
on carrying on.
C-A-R-E. Y. Because
Carry on production.